We're a little bit before our start time, going to give about 1 more minute for additional attendees to join. And if you'll bear with us for just a moment, we'll go ahead and get started. I would like to welcome everyone again to our webinar presented by Workforce Go on trends to attract and retain top talent. Going to go ahead and get started for everyone this morning. Just to start off with a couple housekeeping items before we jump into our information. During our webinar today, all lines will remain muted. If you have any questions during our webinar, please go ahead and type those into the question or chat box. For any questions, we will respond to all of those at the end of this webinar. Should you have any direct questions or need direct follow-up post this webinar, please feel free to email us at info@myworkforcego.com. I'd like to go ahead and introduce myself to all attendees today. My name is Chris Goheen with Workforce Go, and I'll be presenting and walking us through our webinar today. I have been working in human capital management industry for over 17 years now in a variety of roles, really helping engage with organizations and coaching them through solutions that empower their people and organizations through human capital management. Also, for additional webinars by Workforce Go, you can visit our events page at myworkforcego.com/events to see all upcoming presentations that we have. A few of the recent or upcoming presentations that we do have scheduled. On June 15th, we will have a presentation around analytically, the last frontier of HCM analytics. On June 20th, we will be holding a presentation specifically on retention, how to keep your top talent. And then on July 25th, we'll be holding another webinar on properly paying exempt employees and all of the specifics associated with that. Now, as we begin our webinar today, I want to give a little bit of information behind Workforce Go and why people and information around human capital management is so important to us. At Workforce Go, we believe that great businesses are powered by great people. In order for organizations to be a great business, you need to create and manage a very engaged workforce. At Workforce Go, we deliver specifically workforce solutions that are purpose-built for your industry and all of your employees. Now, building upon that today, we're going to cover some very specific topics in our webinar. We're going to start our webinar today focusing on key trends in human capital management and what organizations need to be considering and looking at. We're also going to discuss how engaged is your workforce today and what you need to consider associated with that. And finally, Workforce Go, how we help organizations managing the story of their people and what you need to look at in solutions associated to meet that managing that story. Now, starting with our trends in human capital management. Organizations today are facing a major disruption in their business and in their workforce. Every business in every industry is being disrupted. The workforce is also undergoing radical changes with the need to manage more generations than ever before, from millennials to baby boomers, and in every region of the world with an increasing workers' expectation. So here you see some of the key business issues that organizations are encountering today. Issues like managing the changing workforce demographics and how they attract and retain those individuals. Developing leaders within their organization and how they create a culture and engagement for those individuals. Looking within their organizations at new organizational models and how they structure their people, their teams, and their workforce. And ultimately, how do we engage our workforce to drive productivity? These are key business issues that are facing every organization in a very disruptive workforce today and environment and need to be addressed. And we'll talk about some of the key trends around that. When we talk about multi-generational workforces, there are a couple key drivers that organizations need to consider. The first is in our workforces today, we have five generations working side by side, and each one of those generations has a different expectation of how we engage and how they're productive. Due to that, organizations need to address culture and engagement and how that is tied to their bottom line, how it's very strategically focused as part of your strategy. Our workforce is aging, and organizations need to be prepared for that, for an exiting part of our workforce and an entering part of the new workforce out there. And ultimately, we need to invest in training. We need to offer appropriate learning opportunities to employees across all the demographics that we engage with, and specifically those five generations we're working with. Here, keeping along the line of those five generations, you'll see the top five important aspects of job satisfaction by those different generations that we're working with. Here in front of you, you actually see three of those five generations. We have our millennials, also known as Gen Y, who were born from the average years of 1997 to 1995. We have our Gen X generation, born from 1965 to 1976. And then our baby boomers, who were born from 1946 to 1964. You'll see across just these three generations and those aspects of job satisfaction that all, starting with number one, they all pretty much stay in line with each other. That respectful treatment of all employees at all levels of engagement there. But as we go down through that list of 2, 3, 4, and 5, they start to shift a little bit in between there and what becomes important and how they expect to be engaged as an individual. Now, not to be lost on only showing these three generations here, we do still have those two additional generations making up the total of five that are in the workforce today. The youngest generation just now entering the workforce, also known as Gen Z, iGen, or Centennials, are those that are born in 1996 or later. And then, of course, our oldest generation of this group that are now exiting that workforce, also known as traditionalists, or that silent generation, born in 1945 and earlier. Again, keeping those aspects in consideration, we have to understand by those generations and by those individuals how they like to be engaged and what's valuable and important to them. So we use that information to drive into some key drivers around hiring and retention of our workforce. With these generations, we have a changing workforce demographic that is creating skill gaps and putting pressure on employers to source top talent. Looking at some of the statistics behind that, looking at average tenure specifically, baby boomers actually had a tenure within organizations of 10.4 years. So they were looking for that long-term establishment and that growth with organizations. Millennials, those aged 25 to 34, are averaging only 2.8 years worth of tenure with organizations. So they're constantly looking for change, looking for additional engagement and how organizations are going to help them grow. Continuing along those hiring and retention key drivers, you'll see retirement is an issue for organizations as well, leading to what's called the brain drain of employees with the most tenure. That brain drain is also very commonly known within the industry as human capital management flight. And that's those individuals that are exiting the workforce, those baby boomer generations and traditionalist generations out there. The emerging challenges that creates for an organization is the transfer of knowledge and skills to their younger workforce or even the entering workforce, and how they develop that new generations of leaders with the skills and knowledge that has been gained over the years. Looking at that, we also have to consider again what is valuable to these individuals and what's important for them to see out of an organization, like that culture and environment that's being created there. You'll see here that 84% of millennials actually prioritize making a positive impact on the world over professional recognition. So they're wanting organizations to give back and being involved in how they're giving back. Where those baby boomers tend to be more motivated by professional recognition itself, growth, recognition from their peers, those type of engagements. Again, what's valuable to them and how we engage with them. Now, also very importantly for organizations to consider is not just the workforce that we engage with, but when we look at trends in the industry, we have to consider all of the governmental regulations we have to stay in compliance with as well on a federal, state, and local municipal level. So there are always a tremendous amount of rules and new regulations being pushed down for employers to be compliant with. These can be around Department of Labor, these can be taxations, Affordable Care Act and requirements around that, or just very specific rules on how we engage and manage our workforce as employers out there. So when we're thinking about that and we're thinking about how we manage and strategize this as an organization, we need to think about how we stay in compliance with those items. And of course, keeping that in compliance in mind, if we're always looking at setting the stage for change, we can always look at California as a leader of where some of those rules and compliance are being driven out of, especially around the Department of Labor and how we engage with those employers themselves. So we can look at California setting the stage for that and driving those new rules or adopting those new rules within other regions throughout the country. In summary, kind of looking at those trends that we talked about there, what do HR leaders or leaders within an organization need to be caring about? And we really need to be asking ourselves the questions on how we address these. First is, how do we increase employee engagement within our organization? Second being, how do we positively impact the employee experience? And we also need to address how are we addressing people as a competitive differentiator using smart strategies within the organizations? How, as an organization, are we attracting and retaining that key talent, keeping those trends in mind? And lastly, are we using or leveraging emerging technologies to address the evolving needs of our workforce out there? Some very good ways to look at ourselves as an organization and make sure that we are addressing those trends is asking ourselves, how engaged is our workforce? Are we managing the story or the journey of our people? Managing your story all starts with engaged employees. Again, to be a great business, you need to create and manage a very engaged workforce. But there are a lot of things you need to manage to create an engaged workforce. Things like performance, benefits, compensation, skills and training, schedules are all examples of this. And you need to do this all while giving employees themselves the tools to access their information, manage their preferences and personal information, and easily enroll in things like your benefits. It's important to get these things right to keep your employees engaged and drive feedback from those individuals. Hearing things from your workforce like, now I can easily access all my information in one place. Open enrollment was almost too easy this year. I sleep better knowing that all my personal data is secure. And employees, our referrals are way up. We have a great organization that they work with, and they're inviting others to come join us. When we look at an engaged workforce, it's hard to drive engagement within an organization with very disjointed processes and data. Your data and processes must not be disjointed in this way, as it creates scenarios where you lack the information you need to make good business decisions and have true visibility into what is actually happening in your workforce. Your processes are both time-consuming and error-prone, such as double entry of data, multiple employee records, lack of true integrated data, resulting in cobbling together reports, all manually, while using information from different systems, if we have these very disjointed processes. It's important for an employee's information to seamlessly flow from the time they apply for a job at your company throughout the hiring and even onboarding process, and all while having real-time data for critical reporting and information that you require. When we look as an organization on how we address this through solutions, we need to look at solutions that are purpose-built for workforce management. With the challenge of attracting and retaining quality talent today, human resource professionals need an integrated set of tools for managing and nurturing their organization's most valuable advantage, from pre-hire all the way to retirement. While most solutions today have a pieced together HR, payroll, talent, and workforce management components to create the illusion of one solution, organizations need a common platform for end-to-end management, looking at things with recruiting, onboarding, core HR, training and development, benefits, performance management, compensation and succession planning, time and attendance and scheduling, labor activities, and even absence management, payroll, and labor analytics. These solutions of this nature embrace your entire workforce, both your salaried and your hourly individuals, where no employee is left behind, delivering an end-to-end employee lifecycle management. Solutions and how we manage this within organizations also need to be built on a secure, unified platform. Leading solutions are natively developed on single platforms. Common solutions in the industry today often offer a frequently cobbled together through a combination of legacy code, acquisitions, and partnerships, providing organizations with a thinly veiled single user interface. The result of this is a higher risk of integration breakdown and a user experience for your people that actually changes as you switch between applications. With leading solution platforms, you get a single employee record from which all applications in the product suite pull information. Rather than entering data multiple times across different applications, you enter your employee's information once. The system automatically populates to all applications in the suite, reducing your data entry errors and ensuring up-to-date information for all applications. The single employee record reduces your reporting complexities as well. By using a common reporting across the applications, you draw from a single source of truth instead of trying to combine multiple sources of employee information. All data is updated real time, so you're making decisions based on accurate information versus legacy latent data that can easily lead to the wrong conclusions. Also, a single secure platform means a single user interface across the solution, which helps minimize user training and boost efficiency. Even security profiles can be customized by users with a variety of levels of data access privileges based on permissions that you specify and that are applied once across all data sources. Solutions and how we engage with our workforce also need to help us drive better business outcomes. With a complete solution to address the entire workforce from pre-hire to retire, all on a single platform, you have the tools and information you need to make better decisions that ultimately deliver better outcomes for your company. You can attract and retain talent, effectively manage and engage them throughout the employee lifecycle, while at the same time controlling your costs. At Workforce Go, we actually provide a portfolio of solutions that help organizations attract and retain talent, engage your workforce, and manage the employee lifecycle, all on a unified platform for the entire workforce. Keeping in mind that lifecycle of pre-hire all the way to retirement. So when we consider those trends, those different applications, engagement, and culture that individuals want to see, and how we perform or manage that as an organization, we look at solutions that help with the entire life cycle associated there. With Workforce Go, our portfolio solutions provide some very unique items for organizations. The first being a true unified platform. When we look at recruiting, HR, timekeeping, scheduling, payroll, and much, much more, we provide solutions that have a single employee record and experience, a single login and access to systems and capabilities, and a common user interface, database, workflow, and reporting across the board. Driving for organizations that single version of truth, that single source access to all employee data, eliminating errors that can happen by duplicate entry, data inconsistencies, and eliminating that risk of non-compliance. also reducing your reporting complexities and allowing you to view key data in real time with configurable dashboards. Ultimately driving to a very engaged workforce, streamlining your HR administration and simplifying compliance so you can focus on your people and not your processes, helping address the needs of your entire workforce, enforcing your policies accurately and consistently, and empowering individuals with a lot of self-service tools. When we break down looking at solutions, we want to engage in the various areas or what's important or available for organizations out there. So with Workforce Go solutions, organizations can do away with multiple and disparate sources of information. HR professionals can have one system, one source for all employee-related information. Hiring and applicant tracking, onboarding of new individuals, benefits management, training administration, even performance management, position management, and of course, self-service, empowering those individuals. Looking at the very beginning of an employee's life cycle, we'll also want to address talent acquisition, engaging with organizations to automate recruiting processes to eliminate paper, streamline administration, and drive efficiency. Create job requisitions with automated approval workflows and gain at-a-glance visibility into the applicant status. Proactively source candidates by posting job listings to your career website or even 8,000 plus free job boards. Also leveraging premium job board integration as well. Allowing you to focus on best fit candidates by asking pre-screening questions in online applications and leveraging data about your existing workforce to make better hiring decisions. Delivering a great application experience for those individuals that reinforces your employer brand while making it easy to search for jobs, upload resumes, and apply online. And of course, optimizing your pre-hire engagement by sending automated notifications and configurable email communications to applicants. All this also ultimately drives to maximizing your hiring budget, looking at things like managing the work opportunity tax credit, finding eligible candidates, and submitting claims automatically around that. Of course, finding that talent and engaging that talent is very important, but retaining that talent is key to organizations as well. So we look at things around performance management, aligning the organization by defining cascading goals and tracking performance at the corporate, group, and individual level. Increasing engagement and retention by enabling managers to continuously monitor employee goals and deliver ongoing feedback. Saving time and streamlining processes with online review forms and automating workflows that support a paperless HR environment. And of course, supporting employee development by tracking skills and certifications with customizable reports that show who needs training and when. And planning for succession and directing employee development by consulting 9-box evaluations, creating career paths and talent profiles, identifying critical positions, and the succession pools for them, all while calculating your bench strengths and building readiness plans and grids. And of course, we want to link all of this type of performance and growth to compensation, with merit metrics that establish guidelines for awarding pay based on performance ratings and pay grade segments. Looking at building upon that compensation for performance, we may also want to uniquely manage compensation management, automating and streamlining processes to make sure it's fair, equitable compensation and decisions across your organization. Having visibility into performance management's results and information, driving things like setting up compensation cycles, 90-day or annual, setting up budgets for compensation cycles, modeling compensation scenarios in real time for your organization, and having workflows for compensation approvals for your workforce. Now, engaging with the workforce on a day in and day out basis is very important as well, and managing things such as time and labor management. With Workforce Go solutions, employees actually have multiple options for data collection and self-service. Performing real-time calculations help you maintain compliance and payroll accuracy when we look at timekeeping and accruals. It also helps you manage exceptions timely and effectively. Lastly, whether you're using Workforce Go payroll solutions along with time and attendance or interfacing to other solutions, Workforce Go and our solutions around timekeeping will make sure that you're sending correctly calculated hours so that the right checks are cut the first time for individuals. Many organizations today are getting into scheduling of workforce and their resources as well, and doing a lot of planning around that scheduling. Workforce scheduling can be complex and time-consuming, and downright frustrating of a task at certain points. Organizations need to match up employee availability, preferences, seniority, pay rates, skills, and certifications with fluctuating business demands to maximize productivity, engagement, and profits. But trying to schedule a diverse workforce using spreadsheets and semi-automated systems too often results in overstaffed shifts, short-handed rushes, excessive overtime, employee disengagement, and even compliance issues. How can you schedule the right person with the right skills in the right place at the right time without overspending your budget or burning out your employees? Workforce Go solutions automatically generate best fit schedules based on your organization's unique requirements to help control labor costs, minimize compliance risk, improve productivity, and drive employee engagement. Easy to use tools and automated workflows simplify creation of best practice schedules that align staffing with budget and demand. Automatic enforcement of schedule rules and policies help avoid employee grievances, litigation, and files. And real-time visibility into accurate employee data, labor costs, and demand enables the managers to make intelligent staffing decisions on the fly, while employee self-service options let employees request shift swaps, coverage, open shifts, and without an added load of administrative overhead associated. Thinking about time for individuals as well as scheduling for individuals, organizations need to manage leave as well. Tracking what an employee are legally entitled to can be difficult for organizations. The Society for Human Resources, SHRM, actually came out with a statistic in December. Specifically in the U.S., unplanned absences add to workload, increase stress, disrupt work of others, and hurt employee morale 48+% of the time. Your employees may require extended time away from work for a variety of reasons, including illness, injury, disability, bereavement, military duty, jury duty, maternity or paternity, child or elderly care, and even labor disputes. Monitoring all of this takes a lot of time. To provide some more statistics behind that, HR managers spend on average 1.9 hours per week on absence tasks. Other managers, like line managers, spend up to 1.7 hours per week on absence tasks. Organizations as a whole are estimated to have a loss in productivity due to unplanned absences of about 11% annually. On top of this, trying to manage compliance with federal laws like the Family Medical Leave Act and state-mandated leave laws in places like California or Oregon is extremely difficult and time-consuming. Building upon that type of compliance, we also have the Affordable Care Act management within here. So employers are still required to manage and monitor all that information with upcoming changes to Affordable Care Act requirements. So it's very important to stay in front of this with real-time status visibility and monitoring, eligibility notifications and compliance alerts, and any of the type of reporting that is going to be continued to be mandated out there. And finally, for organizations is payroll administration. Organizations have a lot of requirements around payroll and how best to manage payroll within the organizations itself. Being able to provide those gross to net calculations, managing your tax filings and payment services, of course, the check distribution and direct deposit management, and all of the year-end processes as well, all while tightly integrating back to finance from a general ledger perspective for an overall picture. With Workforce Go and our solutions, we really engage and escalate the flexibility available to organizations through different offerings that we have, whether that is full outsourced payroll services or in-house payroll management, and even a hybrid of just outsourced tax payment services associated and keeping in compliance with that information. Finally, in regards to solutions and how Workforce Go engages or empowers organizations with our portfolio of solutions is providing visibility that organizations need specifically into its information. So with dashboard and reporting capabilities, providing real-time information for you around your active workforce, revenue and costs per individual, turnover information, predicted cash requirements, or predictions around labor distribution, scheduling, or actual, and any of that various information. It's very important for organizations to have real-time visibility to make very informed decisions around their workforce. Also important for organizations around engaging their workforce or utilizing solutions around empowering and making decisions is bringing a unified platform between finance and accounting together with human capital management. So Workforce Go, with our portfolio of solutions, provides delivered integrations to bring a holistic view for the organization together. And you can see here a variety of different finance, accounting, and ERP solutions that Workforce Go provides delivered integrations with today, while keeping in mind that we do provide the capabilities of interfacing with any financial solution. So again, keeping in mind those trends that we have around workforces, our 5 generations that are working together and their expectations around culture, environment, and growth for those individuals, we need to look at complete solutions from pre-hire to retirement, our ability to attract and retain talent, engage our workforce, and manage that entire employee life cycle, all on one single unified platform, providing real-time visibility and engagement into information and the best informed decisions. With that information in mind, I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions that we may have today, and I'll also check our questions in chat box, which you're free to type into at any point in time. And we'll give just 1 minute for those to come in. Okay, haven't seen any questions come in the chat or question box there. Please continue. I'll continue to monitor that information, so please feel free to put your questions in there. With that in mind, I do want to go ahead and say thank you for attending our webinar today. Please keep in mind our upcoming webinars that we will be hosting, and you can visit those at myworkforcego.com/events. Also, if you'd like to receive any additional information from this webinar or just speak with some of our team members directly, you can email us at info@myworkforcego.com or visit our website, myworkforcego.com, for any more information on our solutions or other topics that we speak on there. Again, I want to thank everyone for their time today and hope the rest of your day goes well.